prepare the statement, I want to make sure that I address all my concerns and don't skip over anything.
That's fine, but if you, sir, if you could start with your full name, please.
My name is Baron B. Lee. Your Honorable Judge, I stand before the court today to express my strong objection to the plea deal offered to Ms. Kelly. The original charge of attempted first-degree murder carried a potential sentence ranging from a minimum of 240 months to a maximum of 300 months. The current plea deal proposes a significantly reduced sentence of 148 months, even though the maximum sentence for solicitation of this attempted second-degree murder is 165 months. I wish to draw attention to the distinction between first-degree and attempted second-degree, primarily centered on the element of intent. If intent is the differentiating factor, I find it unreasonable to consider solicitation in the second degree, as the very act of solicitation inherently implies intent. Ms. Kelly not only orchestrated an attempt on my life by sending 2 teenagers to shoot me 9 times, but also plotted a subsequent attack upon discovering I had survived. The gravity of her actions cannot be understated. The prosecution justifies lenient plea deal by citing Ms. Kelly's lack of prior convictions. However, I must emphasize that her clean record is a result of both law enforcement and family court system's failure to address her previous attempts on my life. Incidents in 2015 and 2019, where she tried to run me over during custody exchanges, were dismissed as domestic disputes by the police and told I had to handle it in family court, denying me the opportunity to press charges. Then the family court dismissed both incidents, telling me I had to co-parent better instead. Moreover, Ms. Kelly should have faced charges for child abuse and neglect, as evidenced by the hospitalization of my son multiple times while in her care. The justice system's repeated failures allowed her to retain custody, and even after finding out her allegations she made towards me in August of 2015 were false, which is how she gained sole custody in the first place. Only after a harrowing incident in April 2017, where my son was found in critical condition and rushed to the emergency room, did Child Protective Services intervene, which resulted in spending 2 years in foster care, which in itself was another injustice put on me and my son, because they refused to give him back to me, even though there was no evidence I was an unfit parent. They just wanted to give her the opportunity to regain custody. In 2019, during a custody exchange at the Kirkland Police Department, Ms. Kelly left my non-mobile special needs son on the lobby floor instead of putting him in his wheelchair or handing him to me, and ran out of the building screaming profanities towards me and my family. Due to her actions, the dependency court granted me physical custody. We were set to go to trial in family court to adopt the rulings from dependency court to award me custody in August of 2020. Ms. Kelly knew she would lose this trial and then orchestrated the attempt on my life in July of 2020. My objection to the plea deal grows stronger due to belated acceptance after 3 years. The prolonged legal proceedings, compounded by numerous continuance requests from Ms. Kelly's defense team and the prosecution's eagerness to expedite its docket, have deepened the suffering both myself and my son over the past 8 years. Now confronted with the potential release of Ms. Kelly before my son reaches the age of 18, I respectfully implore Your Honor to reconsider the proposed sentence and instead impose the maximum allowable term of 165 months for the charges to which she has pleaded guilty. This adjustment would at very least afford my son the opportunity to transition into adulthood without the looming threat of Ms. Kelly's presence. The reduction in charges has already lowered the maximum sentence below the 240-month minimum, rendering 165 months a reasonable and just request. In conclusion, I respectfully implore Your Honor to render a verdict that accurately mirrors the gravity of Ms. Kelly's actions and the far-reaching consequences she has imposed on the lives she has disrupted. The 165-month sentence, falling short of the warranted 300 months, stands a reasonable compromise, given the substantial harm she has inflicted. As a direct result of her actions, Mr. Mendez and his family will face 106 months apart. Mr. Good and his family will face 152 months away from each other. Additionally, I'm condemned to undergo a future hip replacement endure persistent cold-induced pain, and grapple with a permanent right thumb arm for the remainder of my life, which is a lot longer than 165 months. And lastly, if Ms. Kelly had succeeded in what she was planning to do, my son would most likely be institutionalized and left fatherless, and no one left to advocate for him. So again, I implore you to sentence her to the maximum 165 months.
Thank you, sir.